Thank you, Dan. I think you just sold 4,100,000 books tonight, so that was great insights. And now I'm very pleased to ask to the stage, hopefully with a big round of applause, Monica Brown to introduce Chris Capossela.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be gathered here tonight as we celebrate the achievements of 4 outstanding marketing visionaries who have earned their rightful place in the Marketing Hall of Fame. In the ever-evolving marketing landscape, where change is the only constant, we look to exceptional leaders who possess the ability to navigate the changing tides, adapt to new technologies, and shape the future of this profession. Chris Capossela has exemplified these qualities throughout his 32-year career at Microsoft, serving as a remarkable inspiration for marketers and communications professionals in the technology field and across the globe. On behalf of Chris's entire organization at Microsoft, I extend our congratulations and profound gratitude. We are so privileged to work alongside such an extraordinary leader, mentor, and storyteller. Under his guidance, we are encouraged to think boldly, challenge the status quo, and deliver meaningful experiences that create love for the Microsoft brand. So tonight, as we induct Chris into the Marketing Hall of Fame, we celebrate not only his accomplishments, but also the future he envisions for Microsoft and the marketing field. A future in which every person and organization is empowered to achieve more. A future that embraces innovation, leverages technology, and places human ingenuity at its core. A future where marketers become data scientists, community builders, and agents of positive change. So with that, it is my privilege to induct Chris into the Marketing Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Chris.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is really an honor to be here. It's great to be here with other inductees who I know, both Amy and Raja, and also folks that I'm meeting for the first time, like Dan. Awesome speeches. I absolutely loved it. It's also a real honor for me to see some of the really impressive creative geniuses behind a lot of the work that I've gotten to be part of, that are part of the agency partners that we've gotten to work with over the years. It was a little bit unexpected and just very, very fun to run into old friends who I feel like we've done a lot of sort of tough battles with. For those of you who are tennis fans, as I am, today is essentially the tail end of the French Open Championships happening in Paris. The semifinals are essentially set, and it's the first year since 2004 that a Spanish player named Rafael Nadal is not at the French Open. He has won 14 of these French Opens, which is insane. And I remember a press conference he did where someone said, "What does it take to win the French Open?" And his answer reminded me of some of the things that other people have said. And he said in his beautiful Spanish accent, "It takes suffering." It takes suffering to win this tournament. And the person who's willing to suffer the most is the person who holds up the trophy at the end of the 2 weeks. And I thought, gosh, that's such a beautiful metaphor for marketing in the world. I mean, it is like this just wicked suffering that you go through. It's a creative suffering to build this creative stuff. It's suffering with the CFO, who is the most important best friend to the marketer, as Amy said, to figure out how you can afford what you think you need to afford to get to the revenue you need to get to. I mean, it's just a constant source of suffering. And so I never expected to have this honor. It's never sort of a fancy goal that I set for myself. But it is sort of fascinating to think about what does it take to last as long as many of us have lasted in this industry, and I do think it's kind of fascinating. Now, I've done my fair share of suffering in this role, and I thought it would be fun to just do a little walk down memory lane to visit one of the most spectacular moments of career suffering that I have endured. And I brought a little video to show the suffering. And it's not that suffering. Go ahead, let's see the video. So obviously I'm incredibly lucky that Microsoft doesn't take that as a career-ending moment. You know, that happened many, many years ago to me. I got a lot of email following this. This video has been used countless times. If you search Bill Gates crash on YouTube, you'll see how many times this thing has been viewed. And you know, honestly, I feel very, very privileged to have worked at a company that allows this type of failure, that allows lots of type of failure, and allows you to keep going. And I think that's really a lesson for all marketers out there. I also have been blessed to work for a CEO for the last 9 years, a guy named Satya Nadella, who asked me to be the CMO a month after he started as the CEO, who has completely reinvented the company. And he's put mission first, as Raja and I were talking about earlier tonight. He has made empowerment the calling card for his tenure as CEO. He thinks it's what Microsoft should stand for. And he has done so many things that make my job so much easier than it would otherwise be. And being able to get that clear purpose, that isn't a marketing-driven purpose, it's a CEO and senior leadership team-driven purpose, has been a great, great gift for me. And it's allowed us to do really, really wonderful creative work that I think resonates for people, both in terms of the products they might want to buy from us, but perhaps more importantly, how they feel about the company. And there's been a lot of examples that I'm really proud of. I brought one, and I brought this particular one because I had absolutely nothing to do with it other than green lighting the $9 million Super Bowl buy 6 weeks before the Super Bowl, because this was an idea the team had 8 weeks before the Super Bowl. So let's take a look at that. You know, for me, my favorite thing about this is this was not a top-down driven thing. This literally came from, I would say, the culture change within the company that allowed marketers from different teams, engineers from different teams, packaging teams from different teams to all come together and build something that really did represent what the senior leaders really wanted. And so I wanted to bring that example and share it with you. As I think about the future of marketing, which was one of the things we were asked to talk about, there are a couple of things I would highlight as high on my agenda that I think will outlast me and probably many people in this room that I think are really, really critical. And the first one is going to be perhaps a little bit of a surprise. There's no doubt, obviously, that the world of AI is going to change the marketing function deeply in the next 3 years and certainly in the next 10 years. And I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, hey, what will the tools look like? How will the function of marketing change? How will creative agencies evolve? Many, many questions along those lines. And those are all great questions to ask. But I actually think the very first question marketers are not asking and they need to ask is, how is the business model of your company going to be reinvented? In fact, you need to reinvent the business model for your company. And as Microsoft made a transformation from traditional software that came on DVDs to a cloud-based world, one of the things we got right was designing the business model 10 years before we needed it. And we slowly evolved to a world of user-based subscriptions and cloud consumption. And most analysts didn't think we'd be able to make that shift from our traditional business to the new business. And it's been a pleasure to prove them wrong. And now we're thinking hard about how will AI change our business model. And yes, the tools will change, the practices will change. But for every marketing team out there, I think the fundamental question you have to ask yourself, whether you're an agency or a brand, is how do I need to reinvent the business model of my company? That's at the core of what AI is going to force us to do. Of course, the second big one is the actual work itself. If people can create 50 assets in 30 seconds with the right brand tone, with the right channels, with the right product images, that's a very different world than the world that most marketers live in today. So how will the function of marketing change? That's essentially the second question for, I think, us to think about. And the third question that we're thinking heavily on, or heavily about, is in a world where so much work has moved to digital, where there is so much worry about disinformation, there is so much worry about job elimination, white-collar jobs being eliminated because of technology. The question for all of us to ask is, not what a computer can do, but what a computer should do. And how do all of us harness the technology in a way that puts us on the right side of history? So we are creating vibrant economies, so we are making the world a better place. Here we are, suffering from incredible fire, natural disasters coming to New York City. We've been living this in Seattle for years because they're already in Seattle. It's already in California, it's already in Montana. And so how do we harness technology to help us solve those problems and build brand love? Love for your brand, love for the Microsoft brand means that people trust us to do the right thing, and it means we make their life better on a daily or weekly basis. So for me, it's business model bravery to reinvent the business model. It's reinventing the processes and the tools we use around AI. And it's building brand love around trust that will make the planet a better place and that will make every end customer's life, better in some small way. Every day, maybe every week we can get away with. Every month is too slow. It's not enough. So thank you for all of the people who are here who have helped Microsoft be successful. Huge thank you to my family, all my coworkers back in Redmond. It's really an honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to the next 10, 20 years working with all of you. Thank you.